Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FilmSnobbery Live. I am your host, Nick Baisley, and I am still hungover from the past week that I've been away. You guys out there, and girls, I guess, might have noticed that we didn't have a show last Thursday. Reason being is I was actually driving from Massachusetts down to Birmingham, Alabama for the Sidewalk Film Festival. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on during the show. But the first thing is we've got I want to get into it because we're going to have tons and tons to talk about on this show because we've been building it up. We've got a great guest for this week. I couldn't be happier to have this dude on the show. He is literally for what I consider to be a superhero in independent film. I want you guys to all welcome someone that is very familiar to all of you out here on in Twitter and Facebook and in our world, but yet we've never actually sat down and interviewed him one-on-one. So I think it's time to kind of get his perspective on what's what he sees here in the industry and what's going on in his world. I want everyone to welcome to the show this weekend, as every week, co-host and guest Jerry Cavallaro. Jerry.
Yeah. Hey, hi.
It's Jerry Cavallaro, everybody. Now.
I cannot live up to it.
No, you definitely can't live up to it. Now, a lot of people are probably saying to themselves, WTF, this guy's on the show every week. How come, whatever. Is it because I couldn't find a guest for this week's show? No, it definitely isn't. Especially after the week I had. I have people literally banging down my doors to be on this show. But Jerry, I wanted to have you on because...
Bullshit.
Dude, I'm dead serious. I wanted to have you on because you have been, whether people know it or not, you've been an integral part of Filmsnobbery since almost the start. And at least since we started, I would say, doing more live content. Jerry and a lot of people don't know what the history between Jerry and I is, but you know what? Rather than get down into the history, which I'm sure will be explained later this week, as I'll be a guest over on Casey Ryan's Cutting Room Floor, Jerry may be joining me. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. But I want to thank Jerry. And this is also kind of my birthday present to Jerry because his birthday was yesterday. So everyone, happy birthday to Jerry.
Hey, thank you, Nick, and thank you, everyone. We're saying happy birthday to the screen.
Yes. Now, and Jerry, I'm really wanted to have you on. I wanted to talk to you because, as opposed to like I do every day, I wanted to talk to you kind of in public here in front of the audience because I want to state right now, I think next year, 2012 is going to be the year of Jerry Cavallaro, and the big reason is, and I think you hit the nail on the head when we were talking once before, is what happened. Who's the last great filmmaker that that succeeded at the age of 23?
Most of them.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith, 23 was the age when he hit big time with Clerks, and Robert Rodriguez, he did El Mariachi, and he sold it when he was 23. I'm not exactly sure on the age of when they actually started making the movie, but 23 is the age that they got recognized with the films. There's a lot of other filmmakers to add to that list also, so I'm hoping this is the year I start getting taken seriously.
I hope so too. Now, before we dig really way deep into everything that's been going on, I wanted to say a quick congratulations to just because I know he's in the chat room now. I want to say quick congratulations to Zach Forsman for his Down and Dangerous Kickstarter campaign because he was successful not only in raising $30,000 for his project, but he's actually gone above and beyond that. Now they have like an extended goal of $40,000. So anyone who's already made a pledge there, we highly encourage you to to either tell other people to pledge or to up your current pledge as much as possible. Zach has been an incredible force in the independent film industry since I've been around and doing what I do, and I've enjoyed everything that the Sabi company and Zach has put out. So if you really want to support quality film, I would definitely recommend supporting Zach Forsman and the Sabi company and what they do, because it's proven over and over. So that's my end rant for Zach. I want to just I just wanted to kind of go there. Let's go back to Jerry real quick. You just decided to self-release Stuck Like Chuck onto the net for free, and that caused a little bit of a confluence of mixed emotions from people online. And why don't you take me a little bit through your thought process on why you wanted to do that? I think we might have talked about it before, but why not? Let's go over it again.
Well, I was basically sitting on the film, and I wanted people to see it. I guess it's about 3 years old if you count when I finished the close to final cut of the film, and we hit the festival circuit until we ran out of money with that, and I couldn't submit to any more festivals. So then I was meeting with different distributors, and I just didn't like a lot of what I was hearing, and I weighed all the different options of self-releasing the film, and there are literally thousands of different platforms and ways to go about releasing a film. And I just decided I'd rather people see the film than make it so hard to go here to buy the film and try to beg people to buy the film after pushing it and promoting it for 3 years. I decided, let me just let everyone see it. Let them see the film, and maybe that'll lead to bigger and better things. Hopefully it'll build some exposure. Plus, people have been asking for the film for a long time. Not the usual people in the chat room, because they all have heard it. I was sick and tired of hearing about the film. But I'm just getting people asking when they can see the film, and I just wanted them to see it, basically. So I went with the free release, and that led to some harsh feedback from some people that kind of surprised me.
Now, I got to ask. I mean, you've had a rough, I would say, at least past year. I wouldn't say past couple of years, but I'd say specifically the past year.
Years.
No, I mean, 2 years ago, you were still in the fest circuit. You were still doing what you were doing. We Are Movie Geeks was actually, for those of you guys who don't know, not only does Jerry do FilmSnobbery Live for me, co-hosts every week, but he also is a fairly regular contributor over at wearemoviegeeks.com. But you kind of they kind of got bought out and have been undergoing a reorganization there. So you've had to kind of still find a place to fit in there. You've been with me for, I don't know why, for as long as you have, but at the same
your company, Nick.
Thank you. And what he means by that is FilmSnobbery, not my physical company. But no. But the thing is, you've really kind of had that issue of that toiling in obscurity thing. As much as we try to include you in as much as what we do, and you've been out work doing stuff with We Are Movie Geeks. You interview a lot of great people and high profile people, but it's really difficult for you, it seems like, to get that personal cachet. And do you have there have been times where you've been flat out ignored. Do you have any ideas of why that might be? Do you have any regrets on anything you would have done differently to kind of raise your own profile? Or I mean, let's talk a little bit about how Jerry Cavallaro got here, specifically kind of focusing on the last year, because I know it's been tough.
Yeah, we can focus on the last year, but we can also go before that too. I've made mistakes starting with when I first finished the film. I was one of those wide-eyed filmmakers that was like, well, I know no one gets into Sundance, but my film's going to be different. I'm going to be the next Clerks. I'm going to show everybody that you can do it. So I held out for, the big festival premiere, and I basically sat on the film for a year after I finished it. It was the film was pretty much done. I've done some tweaks and stuff. I did a few test screenings while we were still submitting to some of the festivals, but I rushed the film in order to submit it to the first couple of festivals to make it by the deadlines. So I didn't submit color-corrected versions to those festivals and stuff. Some of them, they were really rough cuts that I really should not have even sent out. I was still trying to find the voice of the film because the original cut of the film was very serious. Like, well, it was still a comedy, but it had a little bit more of a serious tone to it, and I had some jokes that I really liked that I cut out because I wanted to be like taken seriously as a serious indie. I wanted to try to be a little bit more of a comedic mumblecore film, and that just wasn't what it was. And luckily I saw that, and I changed the film and made it far better than it was. But I was submitting those rough cuts to these festivals, and I just wasn't getting into them, and I just kept holding out for the next big festival. Then the Staten Island Film Festival came up, and I skipped it. I was like, I'm not going to premiere at my local festival. I'm going to premiere at a major festival. So I waited a whole other year until the next Staten Island Film Festival to premiere.
Now, I think it's important to let everyone in the audience know who doesn't know, you made Stuck Like Chuck when you were 19. So you're saying that between 19, 20, 21, that's actually right around the time when you even got around to releasing it to...
just before I turned 21, yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually came up with the idea just before my 19th birthday, and then I worked on it, like the script and everything, right after I turned 19. Then I went right into filming it a couple of months later, and then I was editing while we were filming, and then by the end of that school year, because it was my sophomore year of college, I was finished with the film, or at least I had a fairly finished cut, and then it was over a year of getting all these rejections, and I skipped the festival, and then finally when I did the premiere, it was just before I turned 21, and then I got this surge of festival acceptances, and we started winning all these awards. But that was right around the time that I was running out of money because I blew all my money submitting to all these other festivals that I had no shot of ever getting into, like Sundance and.
Do you regret still doing that? I mean, in as much as I guess to a point.
I make this joke to Paul Osborne a lot. I wish I had seen official rejection a year earlier, a year before he made it. I wish I saw official rejection. Because I think I would have taken it more seriously. Because I've read on blogs and stuff, oh yeah, don't submit Sundance, that you won't get it. But then actually seeing it in the documentary, that's why every filmmaker must see official rejection. I know I'm already plugging stuff, but
no, I'm right there with you. I was actually just at the festival, in Alabama, the Sidewalk Film Festival, which we're going to talk more about later. And people were asking me that, like, what's your most favorite thing you've seen in the past year? And I'm like, and I had about. I don't know, I had 3-4 different answers in terms of, because there's never just one movie, but official rejection was almost in every conversation that was related to that, because I think that in terms of festival movies or movies that capture the reality of what I think a lot of filmmakers go through, and whether or not you enjoy 10 Till Noon, whether or not you like Scott or Paul, the fact of the matter is that they're pretty well dead on as to what the world of people who travel around to different festivals, the festival tour life is like. Not all of them are going to be awesome. You're going to run into technical issues. You're going to run into just flat out bad festivals, blah, 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 blah. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's great when you can run into awesome festivals and have that great premiere and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't always happen. And with the amount of films that are out there, I can imagine that, the competition is pretty stiff. I mean, over the past year or so, Jerry, I mean, you watch about as many movies as I do, if not more, which is saying something. Now, the question is that, when you look at Stuck Like Chuck and then you look at a lot of the other stuff that's come out, do you ever compare yourself to those other filmmakers going like, wow, I really do suck? Or do you look at it like, I could do better than that? What do you...
Constantly, but I'm always comparing myself to, seeing other films on the circuit or seeing what gets released by, Magnolia or some major company or what, finds its way on DVD somehow. And there are times where I see something and I'm just like, why has this not gotten, a much bigger release? This is amazing.
I completely agree.
I see stuff and I'm like, wow, how did this get released? And I couldn't do anything with my film with this company.
Like you know that there's a development deal in there somewhere, or someone knows someone else's fucking retarded cousin or something.
But then you have, I'm always comparing. But then I hate when I see a movie that is just god awful, but it looks good. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, wow, if they had worked on the script, the actors are there, it looks great. You obviously had the budget, but your script is just garbage.
Dog shit, yeah.
And I hate when I see that because I'm like, I got these great scripts that I wish someone would read, but they won't because I don't have an agent and I don't know anybody. So like I'm the few people that I do get the scripts to, like they love them, but they're like, this isn't for what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this type of movie. I hate that when that happens. But
Now I want to interrupt you for like one quick second because I know that we as much as we give you shit here on the show and stuff like that, I think that praise sometimes skips over you. Sometimes I wanted you to say something real clever here in the chat rooms. Things I think your model free release is a great way to grow your own personal brand as a filmmaker. And so you do have people that agree in some things you say, and as someone who has supported Stuck Like Chuck since I've started doing these live programs, I mean, it's half the reason why you're here. You are kind of the voice of the filmmaker here, and hurry up, please, and make another fucking movie so you can continue being relevant to me.
Someone was just like, yeah, keep making movies. I love Stuff Like Chuck. I was like, okay, donate.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean,
important people.
I will say, you speaking of, we chatted very briefly about Paul Osborne. Paul recently wrote an article for Movie Maker magazine, and you were kind of included in it, and it wasn't necessarily the most positive of connotations, although there was kind of a backhanded type of thing there. Now, not that Paul was talking shit. I mean, it was all facts. But do you want to fill in the audience on what that article was about a little bit?
We're just going all over the place.
No, I think we're covering. I'm trying to cover you and you as a filmmaker because
I'm happy to go into it. It's for anyone that doesn't know, I tried to do a campaign for Stuff Like Chuck 2. It was called at the time, and it wasn't a sequel to Stuff Like Chuck. That was my first problem. Everyone was like, Stuck Like Chuck 2, you're making a sequel. I'm like, not really. It's something that's never been done before. We're going to make a movie that's about I can't say it's never been done before because technically like Wes Craven's New Nightmare and The Blair Witch 2 kind of did something what we were doing.
Right.
But the idea was that it was going to be a movie about a fictional version of what happened after we made Stuff Like Chuck. Mm-hmm. So it was going to take place at a festival where the film was about to premiere, and all of the actors from Stuff Like Chuck would be playing themselves, and an actor was going to be playing me, and it was going to be about a wide-eyed filmmaker premiering his movie and dealing with how crazy the festival circuit was. And I came up with this idea before I saw Official Rejection, and then when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is the fictional counterpart to Official Rejection. People are going to love this because this is going to be they see Official Rejection, they learn the truth about film festivals, and then they see my movie and they'll be like, this is a funny portrayal of life, the hectic life at a film festival.
Now, for every... Oh, go ahead. No, continue.
I was just going to say, people didn't see it for what it was, because as soon as they saw Stuff Like Chuck, they were like, oh, it's a sequel, and they didn't care about the plot. And I had to kind of tell them, no, it's not a sequel, we're doing this differently, we're doing this. And I promoted it for, I think it lasted 5 months, the campaign.
Right.
And then we were trying to raise $30,000. Then Indiegogo, halfway through our campaign, Indiegogo put these time limits on campaigns. Because when I started, it was basically you put a project up and you raise money, and then whenever you reach your goal, you're done.
Right. And we tried to do that. We tried to do a rolling campaign where one of the things that we were doing was all the money that we raised, we would donate 50% to another filmmaker's project. And unfortunately, they put the time limit in because they were getting so much pressure from Kickstarter. Even though that, in actuality, Indiegogo had the time limits initially, but took them out because they wanted to differentiate themselves more.
Yeah, they had them, but I think filmmakers didn't like the time limit.
Yeah, we started getting involved in Indiegogo really early on, where I think they were still trying to figure out exactly who they were as far as who their audience was and how to serve them best.
We got involved in them when people still didn't know what crowdfunding was.
That's true. That is true.
So we had this campaign up. So then when they put the time limit, so I put it down to $15,000, and I decided we'll raise $15,000 on our first campaign. Then after our first successful campaign, we do a second campaign, because we only needed the $15,000 by summer so we can start going to production, and then the rest could come in for finishing the film and also paying the actors and everything would be part of the second campaign. And in the end, we only raised $2,500, which I'm very appreciative of all the people that did donate and all the support we got.
The irony of that is
make the movie.
The irony.
Exactly what I made the first movie for.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. The irony is that that's exactly what Stuck Like Chuck one, if you want to call it that, cost to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't enough for the quasi sequel, because we were just going. We could, for one thing, we had to shoot it in Orlando. We were going to shoot it at the Orlando Film Festival, and I was really inspired by the festival when I rewrote the script, and they opened the doors to us and were like, if you can get your crew and actors down here, you can film anywhere for free at the festival.
Yep.
So we're going to have this huge location that would have cost a couple, maybe $100,000 or more to fake it if we were shooting at a fake festival, because you're going to have crowds of people, beautiful theaters, and all these locations for free. But it just we couldn't afford it with the $2,500 that we raised.
Yep.
There was no way we could make the film, and I did that campaign up until I think August 1st. It ended July 31st, and July 31st was the last day of it, and we basically.
Well, you failed, but you're going a little long. Here's the point.
I a different way to say it, but. We failed in that regard of making the money, but we were the most viewed campaign in the history of Indiegogo, active campaign in the history of film projects on Indiegogo.
Right.
And that's what really stung, because we had so many eyes on the project, yet we still failed. So miserably, basically.
Right.
So since then, it's been kind of trying to get that project done and get other projects done.
Well, Jerry, let's do this. Let's stop for a minute. Let's take a little break before we continue to move on to the next step of where you're at. Let's go ahead and let's play the trailer for for Stuck Like Chuck, your little promotional trailer that you had for when you did your self-release. We're gonna play that. When we come back from that, we're gonna get into. We're going to get into a little bit more of what you're up to now and kind of how you're taking this, how you're taking Stuck Like Chuck, getting it out there for free, and how you're getting people to look at it there. Because we know that there's two things Jerry Cavallaro is really good at. One is marketing himself, and the other one, even if it doesn't always work, he's very active in marketing himself. And the second one is he's a very prolific screenwriter. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk about both of those things in a moment. I want everyone to just take a quick peek at the trailer for the free release of Stuck Like Chuck, which you guys can go over and actually watch right over at www.stucklikechuck.com. Please leave this guy some dough and donate to his thing. You're getting it for free. It's a feature-length film. It's 86 minutes long, and it's a good movie. So if you're entertained, you should at least throw him a buck or two. So that being said, here's the trailer. We'll be right back with more Jerry Cavallaro. And we're back, and I was watching the wrong monitor, so the Stuck Like Chuck was up there for a lot longer than it needed to be. So here's the deal. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk with Jerry here a little bit more about some of the things that he has been up to since releasing Stuck Like Chuck out into the wild, since his campaign. His campaign was a failure, but he had tons and tons of views on it. This obviously attracts attention from someone. Jerry, who was that someone that you were contacted by?
Wait, what are you talking about, the producers, or there was a couple?
Okay, what the hell is the thing you just IM'd me about? That's what I'm trying to segue you into, you dumb shit.
No, the way you said it made it sound like you were talking about someone else that contacted me for something differently. Never mind.
No.
I got contacted by a bunch of producers after the campaign ended.
Right.
That's what I was talking to you about.
Okay.
Trying to bring up. Was I got pretty much as soon as the campaign ended, like August 1st, August 2nd, I just started getting hit with producers that wanted to check out like my pitch and were interested in helping out. I think this is kind of like an ongoing thing, kind of like lawyers chasing ambulances. where producers chase like full-on Indiegogo projects, and they all were like, let me see the pitch and stuff. So a lot of them were reading the scripts and stuff, and by the end of August, I had my script in probably like 10 different people's hands that all were like, yeah, we definitely want to get behind this film. And that ended up falling apart shortly after that, because I found out that a lot of these guys were kind of basically full of shit. And but they were like trying to get me to sign with them, trying to get me to do all this stuff. So that's another thing that like filmmakers have to work about. Like just you're constantly trying to get people trying to screw you, basically. And I had this one producer that was like, I read the script, I loved it. I think we could, we can definitely make this. However, I think we need a cameo by Ben Affleck. And I was like, well, yeah, that would be amazing, but we're not going to do that. He goes, no, I'm pretty sure we can pull it off. This is a really good script. I think Ben Affleck should play one of the producers in the film. He should play, because we have this short scene where the character Barry met with some producers, and he was like, I think he could play like an asshole producer really well. I was like, I'm sure he could, but I doubt we're going to get him. And he goes, well, we'll definitely get him, and I think this film, we should probably make it for like $100,000. I was like, okay, we can make it for 100. I was trying to raise 30,000, but 100,000, that'd be amazing. And then like he kept sending me all these things like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. And then eventually I never heard from him again. And I tried contacting him and never heard from him. And like I just have no idea what happened to him. Like he just kind of disappeared. And I was kind of worried for a while just because he had my script.
Right.
And I still like he has my script. I have no idea where he's gone, what he's doing. And it's kind of just, I don't know, that's one of the things that you should watch out when you're, pretty much, trying to get people trying to screw you from all different angles.
Now let's talk about some other producers. I mean, you also got approached by some very well-known producers to read your stuff and submit your stuff to them kind of as it comes in. You've submitted 2 scripts to them since then. Both of them you can actually check out online in part. You can check out Funny Devils and Freshman 15. Who are these people? Are we going to name some names on this one, or?
See, that's who I thought you were talking about. I was trying to avoid it just because I don't want to name names. I don't know if I can or if I, like... all
right, well, let's put it this way.
I'll just say some of the films they've produced.
Okay.
That way. Juno, 500 Days of Summer, Jennifer's Body, and a whole bunch of other...
Hot Tub Time Machine?
Fairly popular. They didn't produce Hot Tub Time Machine, but they represent the writer of Hot Tub Time Machine.
There you go.
But yeah, basically they contacted me, and after reading a review of Stuck Like Chuck, I guess this all ties into the Indiegogo campaign, that Cinematical posted. Because I was trying to get Stuck Like Chuck, I was trying to get a lot of press for Stuck Like Chuck while the campaign for Stuck Like Chuck 2 was still going on. So I got Cinematical, Scott Weinberg, who was the head editor over there. He had one of the writers check it out, and Peter Hall, he loved the film. It really surprised me. And he wrote like this amazing glowing review of the film and posted it on Cinematical. And at the time, this was before AOL completely fucked them over and Cinematical disappeared. This is when Cinematical was still a very big, respected film news site.
Well, let's just call it when it was not defunct.
Yeah, basically. So they wrote this. He wrote this glowing review, and the morning the review came out, I got contacted by a reader for those producers, and she was like, "I want to check out Stuff Like Chuck, and are you interested in writing scripts that you won't direct, but other people, writing scripts for sale?" And I was like, "Yeah, I definitely would be interested in that." So she checked out the film. She was like, "We really like it. We see a lot of potential, and we want to hopefully work with you." So I started working really hard on my scripts because I didn't have a script except for Stuff Like Chuck 2 finished. And she was like, "We don't want that one." Because that's a personal film that you're trying to make. It's, that's your project. We're looking for a couple $1 million to high studio budget films. So I started working on 2 scripts that I really had in my head for a while, which was Freshman 15 and Funny Devils. Freshman 15 was the first one I finished, and I sent that in, and got really good feedback. But basically, it was, we really like this. However, we're working on a film that's set in college. It deals with some of the issues that you have. Although ours is more of a drama, but we're having a really hard time with it. So we're not going to take that on now. Send us your next one. So I was like, okay, fine. So then I started working really hard on Funny Devils, and that is just it's a throwback to 80s slasher films. It is over the top violent. It's this crazy movie, and I'm like, I really don't expect much sending this to the people that made Juno.
Yeah. Now the funny part though is that you were like you would finish it just around the time that Scream 4 was coming out, and you're like, if Scream 4 hits it big, submitting this script is going to be like, it'll be a lock. And then what happened?
Yeah, because it's the same tone kind of, because Scream 4 is a horror comedy, and I was going for it's a horror comedy, it's a dark comedy, but similar tone to the Scream movies. And Scream 4 came out and was pretty much a huge flop. Did not meet any expectations. And the Monday morning after Scream 4 failed miserably, I got the rejection from a couple of people, but especially from her. They were just like, this is just way too violent for us, and now is just not a good time for this type of movie. I'm like, of course.
Yeah, no, it's. I am certainly.
This type of movie. The really funny thing is that now you're seeing a bunch. Another thing was, I got rejected from a few other people saying now's not the time for R-rated horror. No one wants to see R-rated horror. Every horror movie this year, except for Shark Night, the new Shark Night that's coming out, has been rated R. Even the Fright Night remake was rated R, which shocked people because they thought it was going to be, everyone assumed it would be PG-13.
Yeah.
That was rated R. But now is not a good time for R-rated horror. But it's just kind of funny.
But here's the deal. That's not an R-rated horror. It's an R-rated remake. There's a difference.
Oh yeah.
You know,
got an audience with that.
But you know, Jerry, and as much as I feel bad that the world seems to shit on you constantly, I will say I pull a Bruce Wayne with you all the time. I'm like, I believe in Harvey Dent, in a non-joking kind of way. I definitely think that there's definitely some talent with you, man. We just need to get you in front of the right people and encourage you to work with people. Encourage people to work with you, I would say.
That's what the free release has been all about, though. Just trying to get it seen by the right people. And I really like the fact that since releasing the film, that I know about on Vimeo, on the main site, on streaming, over 550 people have seen it. Possibly 10,000 more downloaded it illegally before I got it up through Vodo. Although technically I guess it's not illegal since the movie's free.
Right.
I didn't put it up on BitTorrent, but someone did.
P.S. It wasn't me, even though I think we had discussed that before. I hadn't had time to do it.
Yeah, we did discuss whether or not you should put it up, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to go through Vodo and see, and I'm still waiting to hear back from them if they want to partner with the film. Although I definitely want to get the film up on BitTorrent eventually. So if Vodo doesn't do it, I'll put it up myself.
Yeah. No, and I'll say to everyone right now. I mean, I do a lot of consulting on films, and one of the things I always say I don't do is I don't do script doctoring. However, if filmmakers do want me to like give an overview of their script or do want something punched up or looked at, honestly, I tell them fine, but I'm going to outsource it over to Jerry, because Jerry has a really good eye for everything from, even, I'll admit, Jerry's he's a young dude. He's just turned 23 yesterday. This is like his birthday. It's almost like his make-a-wish, because you never know, he might not be around for another year.
I want to be a guest on FilmSnobbery.
Who wouldn't? So what we're doing for Jerry here is I literally throw people at Jerry all the time, and I use him, and I hold him up to a pretty high regard in terms of someone with a really great eye, especially for pop culture, someone who's very educated in terms of seeing so many films and understanding genre, understanding characterization, understanding things, and being able to really effectively see deep into a scene. The only problem is Jerry is hampered by the same thing, I think, that a lot of people are, obviously budget, so he can't do these things on his own. But also, you would think that location would be an issue for Jerry, but being in New York, he's in Staten Island. But Jerry's not had the best of luck getting connections with the people he needs to get these things working. So if anyone is in New York and would like to work with Jerry, Gary King, I'm looking at you. The man is available. So there. Now, Jerry, would you work on? Now, obviously, you direct movies, you write movies. Would you ever work on someone else's film in if either of those capacities weren't available? Would you ever want to be a producer?
I don't know if I'd want to be a producer, just because I don't think I'm very good at producing. But I would work on other people's projects, definitely. I would, obviously I would prefer to write on someone's project or like a web series or something like that, but I would definitely work in different capacities on other films. Another thing that I was really interested in, I've offered to some filmmakers, however no one's taken me up on it, is I would like to do, I would definitely be interested in doing the behind the scenes of like filming a behind the scenes documentary that would be on someone's DVD or something. So that way I could get to see how the other people run their sets, how other people work on a film while not really interfering with it, and also I'll be making a film for them. Which that's kind of, I guess, what Lucas McNally is trying to do with Year Without Rent, or that's sort of what he's doing. I don't know.
By the way, someone real clever suggests that you become a PMD.
Yes, that's my next attempt at something in the business. That's what I'm going to do next. If I can't get a script sold, I'm going to become a PMD.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to hassle Nick and be like, why do you make fun of us all the time, Nick?
I think that's it. And also Michelle says you need to find yourself an Italian sugar mama. Unfortunately, Maria Rosolo is already married. Yeah. And also her husband's the breadwinner there. Although congrats to them for getting their short film, Ma and Her Kerchief, getting that into, I believe it's the Coney Island Film Festival. So congrats, guys. I'm hoping to actually book a trip to New York in the fairly near future. It's just that work is kind of keeping me close by here up until, I think I'm unfortunately going to be here until like late October. And then I'll either be in New York after that, or I'm going to head over to Chicago for various reasons. So yeah. I think that, no, Jerry, so I guess I don't know why I kind of got...
become a little bit of like a telethon. Help Jerry out.
Oh, it totally is.
Do you see this filmmaker? He has talent, but he can't show it.
Oh, I really want to, and don't anyone dare take this idea, because I will eventually do it. I want to do like that what is her friggin' name? The chick with has all the, basically those like abused dog commercials. Yeah. With the Sarah McLachlan thing behind it, and I want to have like the faces of independent filmmakers, and like for only $1 a day, you could help.
Use that song too.
Oh, if I knew I wouldn't, I know if I did it, I would totally get busted by it. I'll have to get something like just really similar in tone. I would totally do something like that and have a kind of like a real, like that would be the poster child-ish type of commercial for independent filmmaking, especially specifically for like the crowdfunding people. I think that would be awesome.
You should just do like what South Park would do. Instead of just use like kind of the same type of music and just hum the words kind of.
Yeah. Well, they say you just have to change, what is it, every 7th note?
Yeah, it's like something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but whatever Vanilla Ice did for Ice Ice Baby, that's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Wow,
we deteriorated. Now, I will say, Jerry, that this is the time normally now where we end the interviews with our normal guests. So I'm going to kind of get you over here. I'm going to let everyone know where they can find everything. If you guys want to watch Stuck Like Chuck, you guys can go over to www.stucklikechuck.com. You can watch it for free there. Please make a donation if you can afford to throw Jerry a couple of shekels. It will go to a good cause, whether or not he's making another movie or not. The man, honestly, the biggest thing he needs right now is a new goddamn computer, because his absolutely fucking blows, and I know that's his next step, is he needs a new computer. Yeah. So
the donations on the site, they're going towards new equipment.
Yeah.
Computer, and then after the new computer comes, a new camera. I'm looking at like the T3i or something like that. Unfortunately, I can't use that camera with my computer because the files don't work. My computer is so old and outdated that I can't play AVCHD files on it.
Yep.
Which that's really terrible, since that's become like a standard especially for DSLR filmmaking. So yeah, that's where the equipment's going towards the equipment, so that way we can maybe do some shorts and do some other stuff.
Yep.
While we're waiting to make the feature. And everyone that donates gets close to 10 hours of bonus features for Stuff Like Chuck.
Mm-hmm. Including a director's commentary by Jerry and myself.
Yep.
So
and
how about that?
33 minutes of deleted scenes, like an hour and a half documentary on the making of the film. The actual, I'm posting this one probably tonight, the original rough cut of the film. For educational purposes only, basically. I gotta kind of have to say that because there's like temporary music tracks in it. But it's the original cut of the film, the first finished cut which is horribly long and bloated, but you can actually, comparing that to the final cut, you might actually learn something.
By the way, Chew Boston 2011 says go for the 60D. You know what though? We're a Canon family here at Film Snobbery. 60D's Nikon, right?
No, I think that's a Canon.
Is it the 60D? I thought that was a Nikon.
Well, the Canon EOS 60D, I think that's what he's right.
Oh no, it's Canon. Okay, I thought there was. I know that there's he even said it too. I could have sworn there's a similarly named.
That's similar.
Yeah.
They all have similar names, but yeah, the 60D was another one that I was looking at.
You're right. Yeah.
That's what I was looking at before the T3i came out, and then the T3i came out and it was cheaper, so I was like, oh, because I'm cheap.
Yeah, and Chew Boston says you're thinking of the D90. You're absolutely right. Good call. But I guess we can talk about this after the fact. But I want to end on Jerry here real quick because we have so much more to talk about still in the show. You can also go follow Jerry over on Twitter, twitter.com/getstuck, and you can just find him on Facebook. I'm sure. Does Stuck Like Chuck the page have a URL?
On Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like
just facebook.com/getstuck?
Get Stuck? Okay.
Yeah. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I know mine to get in touch with me personally on Facebook.
See, look at this. True Boston says you should make a Boston premiere. I can help you promote that. That's what he said. Honestly, if I could have gotten him a Boston premiere, I would have done it a long time ago myself. But no, honestly, I know who this guy is, to be honest, and he is. You've met him. True Boston 2011. Jerry, you've met him.
Okay.
He had a film. I think he had a film where.
Is that Benjamin Chew?
Yeah.
Hi.
How you doing?
Yeah, he's awesome.
See, isn't it funny? Like you remember people even just by like the Chew part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, he's a cool guy. I wish I had a chance to talk to him more while I was. Yeah, I've been here because we're like not neighbors per se, but we're in the same state anyway. So Ben, don't be a stranger. That being said,
I'll never make it as a PMD. No.
But let's go ahead for a second and let's kind of end this part of the show on a positive note, saying, well, for a minute anyway. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead. I want to have everyone. Go check out Stuck Like Chuck. I'm gonna go ahead. I want to throw in a quick ad for our good friends over at Indie Picks Unlimited. When we do that, when we come back, we gotta talk about. I want to talk about my experiences over at the Sidewalk Film Festival, and then Jerry actually has some news that he wants to share, or a rumor at best anyway that he wants to share because I thought was interesting. And then we're out of here for the night. I actually got to go to Foxwoods tonight and go gamble at my friend's bachelor party. So we'll be right back with Indie Picks Unlimited. We'll be right back from our Indie Picks Unlimited ad, and you guys can join us. We got some more stuff to talk about. Be right back. And we're back. Everyone, as I kind of mentioned at the top of the show, I was actually gone for a few days. The reason why we didn't have a show last Thursday, I was actually at the Sidewalk Film Festival down in Birmingham, Alabama. I drove down there, as I like to do to a lot of festivals. A lot of people always tell me you're crazy, you should just fly, you're insane, blah, blah, blah. I really like driving because it allows me a chance to think, and actually it kind of is reminiscent of how Film Snobbery got started. I was a network engineer, got laid off a couple of days before my vacation, which was a road trip from Massachusetts to Chicago, then down to Tennessee, then over to New Jersey, and then I was coming back up to Massachusetts. A lot of time alone in the car to think, and it's kind of almost been somewhat tradition now that when I go anywhere that's for work, I drive, and because it gives me that kind of time to think about what's next, what are we going to do. It gives me time to reflect on some of the people I met, things I've done, and it's awesome. But here's the thing. Sidewalk Film Festival. I go to a lot of film festivals every year, and I got to tell you guys, Sidewalk Film Festival is officially in my top, definitely in the top 3 film festivals, maybe even higher. But if I keep going higher than that, I'm going to start offending people that I work with. So, but I have so many people I really want to thank. 3 people, four people, very, very specifically that I want to thank off the top of my head. I want to thank Rebecca Pugh and Chloe Collins for inviting me. They discovered me at South by Southwest, where I was doing my little panel, Your Baby is Ugly. And we met there at the Indiegogo party, and we talked, and they were talking about, hey, we got this Sidewalk Film Festival thing, which I'd heard of and heard nothing but good things about from other people. So I said, they were like, hey, we would love to talk to you about it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, great. A little bit of time went by, and Rebecca contacted me. We kept in contact after South by, and she said, hey, we would love for you to come and do a panel here. What would you like to do? And I was, they're like, do you want to come and do Your Baby's Ugly? I was like, sure. We ended up kind of retitling it a bit. The one I did there was called I Love You, But I Want to See Other Movies. The theme was still evaluating your film honestly. The idea is that I'm a film critic. I think I see movies and watch movies with a slightly different eye than the people who make them. And the idea is that you're sometimes so close to what you're doing, and so close to the art and so involved that it's hard to keep that perspective on what you're doing. So that's what I'm here for, and it's kind of about teaching filmmakers on how to view it with that perspective. At the end of the day, though, much like my South by Southwest talk was, this one was also basically just a Q&A. Instead of an hour, this one actually got extended out to 2 hours of basically improv Q&A. I will say, I didn't have the biggest audience I've ever had in my life, but definitely one of the most engaged. So thank you to everyone who came to the panel and listened to me and talked with me and asked me questions. And I was happy to hear about what everyone was doing. So thank you. It was a real diverse group of people, and I was happy to have everyone there. Another person I want to thank Dave West, and I want to thank Dave. He was the transportation coordinator. Anytime I wanted to go anywhere, day or night, basically you called Dave and someone came and picked me up, driving Miss Daisy style, and took me to wherever I wanted to go. The awesome part of that was it ended up meeting up with a lot more filmmakers, and 9 times out of 10 we would never go right to the destination. We would basically end up going out to eat as a group, including the driver, and everyone was just really, really cool. I want to thank one driver in particular that was just the sweetest person in the world. She was my half-Jap companion. She was my short round, as it were, and her name is Lisa Petrov, and she was just absolutely cool. If anyone's never seen Lisa, if you've ever read X-Men, picture Psylocke. She looks like her, and it's awesome. Plus, she just has the best personality. Some people would be like, that's kind of offensive. If you knew Lisa, not at all. Lisa was awesome. So that's another person I want to thank. But I also want to thank the panel coordinator, the panel wrangler, as it were, Jen West, who I cannot say enough kind words about. Jen is quite possibly one of the best human beings I've ever met in my life, in so many ways. Like I would marry that woman in a heartbeat. But that being said, she actually has her own website. I want everyone to go check it out sometime. She just really a lot of things that she kind of said and we talked about were just awesome. She has a website. It's thejenwestquest.com, I believe. You can check her out. Check her out on Google it if you have to. The Jen West Quest, and it'll take you right to her. And I gotta tell you, it was just such an awesome experience. If you guys can read the what we've got going on, right? I think it's right here on the side of the sidebar here. It says they had 200 films. They had a 90% filmmaker attendance rate. That means that there were about 190 filmmakers there. I was meeting new people all the way up until like I was literally leaving the festival, and it was just really it was the first festival experience I ever had where while I love working with festivals like First Glance, wearing their shirt here, New Hampshire was awesome. They have that kind of small town feel. This was more like summer camp. And it was really that feeling like when I went away where I actually got emotional leaving. I was just very kind of choked up. I almost man-wept a little bit. Man-wept, a little tear here and there. It was just really just like, man, I'm going to miss these people. And a lot of them were the people who worked at the festival. I got to tell you, the volunteers were working tirelessly. Everyone who, I know I'm missing tons of people to thank and to and all that. Just some really, really great people. I want to thank Jeff. He was cool. I want to thank crap. I don't know. Another great part of that festival was the Shout part of that festival. Shout is it was all filmmakers from the LGBT, all it was the gay section. The queers, as it were. But I love those people, and let me tell you, they made the difference in a lot of those parties because they was awesome peoples. Particularly, I want to thank like Ash Christian, who was a cool dude. I mean, some of these guys were like just out and about, as it were, and no pun intended. And they were just all cool people to hang with. Just tons of cool people to hang with.
I love how you tried to be politically correct, and then you just went out fucking.
Hey, you know what? They are the exact same. Those people are, and I love that they integrated it. Like, it wasn't like they were their own mini festival inside of that festival. They were integrated throughout, and they were part of the awards ceremony, and they were, I was just really proud of everyone there. I mean, everyone, it just made it such an enjoyable experience for everybody, and that's something that I think that the South doesn't get a good rap for. I mean, a lot of people, I was like, I'm going to Birmingham, Alabama for for this thing in the middle of summer. They're like, okay, well, three things. A, you're going to sweat your balls off, which, yeah, okay, I did. Two, get ready for the ding, 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 ding. And you know what? Very little of that. And then the other one was just like, oh, it's racist and it's violent and it's all this. I'm like, I experienced none of that. I will say every screening I went to, as far as being a filmmakers festival, these guys, every screening I went to was full. Standing room only was full. Even towards the end of the festival, like Sunday, there were some open spots, but it was still very crowded. They had a great street festival with bands playing going on. I mean, they closed off a street in downtown Birmingham, and they had those, like the taco trucks, Italian ice trucks, and barbecue trucks, and cupcake. They had cupcake trucks. Come on, they had everything, and it was just awesome and fun. And I can't thank everyone else, everyone I met there enough. I want to point out some filmmakers specifically I just had a great time with. I want to say gotcha to everyone out there because Mark Bell from Film Threat and I, we met up there, and we've met many other times, and we had I'd gotten a couple tweets just like, good luck with Mark Bell there, and I was just like, what is that supposed to mean? I showed it to Mark, and he's like, do people don't think we get along? And I'm like, I don't know. I never really thought about it. He goes, because we're friends, and I'm like, I know. So he said, here's what we do. We started Twitter war, a fake Twitter war, just to fuck with everybody. And I said, let's do it. So we sat there basically trading insults, giving insults to each other to say about the other person on Twitter. And we're basically just kind of, you didn't all play along as much as we were hoping you would, but a few of you did. And for those people, I want to say gotcha. For the rest of you, and for everyone else who didn't participate, where's the fun? But anyway, that being said, no, Mark and I are good friends, and we had a great time. I want to thank him. He's taken, you guys might notice on Facebook, I changed my profile picture. That was taken by Mark, and it's actually probably one of the best pictures of me I've ever had taken. And I don't get a lot of pictures of me taken, because this should not ever be on camera. It is here by default, basically. But that being said, he was there. I want to thank Mark for just being a cool dude, and I want to thank Sean Hackett, director of Homecoming. He got there. I don't know if you guys know Sean Hackett, who you guys might remember from his Film Courage screening. He was at in Portland, and he was on a zip line, fell, broke his back, and several other things happened to him. And 2 weeks later, he's got a walker, which Jerry would love, because Jerry, it had on the walker, he had taped, "Come see Homecoming, this theater, this time," blah, blah, like, it reminded me, it was very Jerry Cavallaro. It was, and he had it everywhere. Every person he talked to, he handed a postcard to. He's like, "Have you heard about my movie? Here you go." And I was just like, man, that guy is a trooper. He was at every party. He was high as shit on Valium, but he was...
I'm gonna have to one-up him. At Orlando, I'm gonna have to get a wheelchair.
There you go. And he was just he was just such a trooper. There was another ghoul. There was a girl there who had a film. I think hers was an Inconvenient Youth. I think that was hers. I could be wrong. Anyway, her name was Slater, and she was a young filmmaker. And she reminded me how old I'm getting, because every morning I would get up and I'd be like, I went to bed at between 3 and 5 every night, 3 a.m., 5 a.m. every night, and I woke up every morning completely hungover. I've been hungover since last Thursday, and because all the booze and the food and everything was free, so everyone indulged. I got so Donaghy'd. Reference to producer Adam Donaghy, over one of the proprietors of the Texas Theater. Awesome guy, awesome dude, but a little out of control when you get some booze in him. That being said, it was just that being said, it was just so I would get up every morning, and I would have to take a lot of time to really wake up and become social. She would be up there every morning. It's like, "Good morning, everybody. How are you? Let's go see some movies." And I was just like, "You are too young." I couldn't keep up. I just couldn't keep up. It reminded me that it was like, I'm getting old, and I'm 30, and I don't feel old in that regard. I really don't. I mean, I was out and doing the same thing every day, but the repercussions were far more severe on my end. But let me tell you, it was just overall probably one of the best festivals I've ever been to. I want to thank everyone for the experience, and I look forward to possibly experiencing it again. I fell in love with so many people there, yes, it was just a very uplifting experience for me. I came home sad but hopeful, and I actually wrote an article about it. Hopefully our good friends over at masteringfilm.com will post it at some point in my life. For those of you guys who don't know, I do write over for Focal Press's masteringfilm.com, kind of write in their business section about various things. I actually have an article up there right now about, are film festivals still relevant? And the answer is, after this weekend, a resounding yes. Yeah, it was just awesome. So, Jerry, you had one other thing as we kind of close out towards the end of the show. One other thing you wanted to talk about, some info you got, whether it's rumor or not, we'll have to confirm, but still interesting either way. So what was it, Jerry?
Yeah, someone that I know that's going to NYU basically said that NYU got rid of a lot of their Macs, and they're no longer teaching Final Cut as a editing program, and they're going entirely Avid because of the new version of Final Cut X that just came out, that pretty much got massive hate when it was released, and I don't think they've made many changes to it since. And basically they said that because of that release, Apple will no longer be taken seriously as a professional editing software. So they switched to Avid. So I just thought that was interesting. I wanted to throw that out there and see like what you think, Nick, and what some of our audience thinks about that.
Well, first thing I'm seeing here from the audience, Real Clever is telling me that the old version is now back up for sale. And I don't know, Jerry, you might have to confirm that for me, or have someone confirm it for me. MacRumors.com, looks like Gary King. Did NYU see this breaking news? And let's see, Gary King posted up, Apple puts Legacy Final Cut Pro Studio back on sale. Interesting. Maybe, you know what, I wonder if Apple was starting to feel the punch from, losing contracts like NYU or anything like that, and said, wow, we got to do something. And you also have to wonder if, with Steve Jobs leaving Apple, if, those decisions to do some of the things that they've been doing with the software and hardware and all these different things were more his ideas, and they were just waiting for someone to, for him to leave before they re-implemented, the good old days, as it were.
I hope so, because that might mean we'll get Blu-ray finally.
Oh God, you know, it was funny. I was talking with someone about that recently. I was actually at the Sidewalk Fest, and I was saying, you know, one of the things that really impressed me about, I was talking about ink at the time, and I said one of the things that impressed me most about that was the fact that the filmmaker actually gave me a Blu-ray for my screener. And they said, yeah, I don't have a way to make Blu-rays. I'll have to get one for my Mac. And I'm like, okay, you can't get a Blu-ray for your Mac. They don't exist. And he was like, really? I'm like, yeah, there's.
But yeah, it still doesn't work properly.
Yeah, so,
yeah, it's actually, if I was able to do Blu-rays, I would do stuff like Chuck on Blu-ray. Not because the quality would be all that much better, but because I'd be able to fit like all our 10 hours of bonus features on a Blu-ray disc.
You're like the George Lucas of indie film, which is kind of funny to say about George Lucas.
I actually even wanted to say that, like, I was going to make a joke on Twitter before that, inspired by George Lucas, I'm thinking about releasing my black and white version of Stuff Like Chuck. I do have a black and white cut of the film.
Yeah, I just want you to digitally manipulate Stuck Like Chuck over the course of the next 25 years, and including.
If I have a budget, I would go back and do an animated fantasy sequence where Rob actually does fuck a unicorn. That's an inside joke for anyone who's watched the film.
Fucking a unicorn. Unicorn. Was it Unicorn in C major?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great song.
By Stucky and Murray.
Stucky and Murray.
You gotta get that song to be like the closing credits of every episode of FilmSnobbery.
Believe me, if we could get the licensing for it, I totally would. And it would have you, like, it's too bad you weren't here, like, live. I would love to do, like, the real anchor desk, like, you know, we talk over or under while the music plays over us.
And we pretend to, like, keep up, like, bullshit.
Right, but we do, like, we do stupid things. Like, one time we'll just start a fight with each other. Another time it's just, like, we'll start playing slap fight. Like, another time we'll play, like, Thumb Wars, or, you know what I mean? Like, real stupid shit while Unicorn in C major is playing over us. No, and you know, I gotta say, I mean, it's, yeah, I gotta say, like, I'm hoping that with the departure of Steve Jobs, I'm hoping that people, that Apple it's funny because as cutting edge as Apple has been in the past, I think that their cutting edgeness has become stale. You know what I mean? Like, I think that they're so like, we're going to do it our way, that they're alienating loyal customers at this point. And I can completely understand the viewpoint of, well, the pro market for Final Cut Pro is so small because it's basically just Hollywood. You know, and younger filmmakers that, like, I can see them being like, the big people who are buying this is like this one sect of people. What about everyone else in the world?
I don't know if that's true. I mean, they did have Final Cut and then Final Cut Express, and Express was the consumer version of it, and they stopped doing the Express for some reason. And the funny thing is, the Express used to be about $300, which is now the price of their Final Cut X. But it's kind of interesting. Like, I was just looking at some reviews on B&H. I was looking through cameras and stuff, and I was looking at, like, the 60D and the T3i and stuff, and people were posting, oh, I'm so glad I bought this camera. My vacation videos are great. I'm going to edit them when I get home. And it's just kind of interesting that, like, maybe there are, like, regular consumers that were using Final Cut Studio, and they were buying, like, really high-end equipment and making their vacation videos out of it. So there might have actually been a whole market there. Like, you were just saying that it's like it was a very limited market. I don't really know. Maybe there were people that were using the higher. Because I was just kind of surprised that people were buying like $5,000 cameras to take vacation video pictures.
Well, Ben Chu actually brings up a good point here. He says maybe FCPX is Final Cut Express. And honestly, you know, the funny part is, too, and I think you and I were talking about it before the show, Jerry, is that, like, you can make Final Cut Pro, or Final Cut better than, you know, the old version of Final Cut Pro. You just have to spend, like, an extra $1,000 on plugins. You know, and
different apps that are available in the store, or use other software. And apparently some people, they love the new Final Cut.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's one of those things, like, only time will tell what actually, especially with what actually happens. Like, will Final Cut Studio still exist in another year? Will Final Cut Pro X or whatever the hell they're calling it, will that eventually?
SPX 190.
Right.
And
Yeah.
your videos while exercising.
Let's see. Yeah, real clever. Polls I have done with filmmakers have been approximately 85% FCP, 15% Avid. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that, let's see. Who has it there? There may be a FC. All right.
Final Cut Studio 8.
Gotcha, thank you. I was trying. I'm like, okay. See, obviously, guys, and girls, I edit using Sony Vegas. That's my editing suite of choice. I use a PC. I've always been a PC guy. Hell, even if I wanted a Mac, I would probably build a Hackintosh, using, in pre-bought parts, and so I would probably never buy a Mac. The closest I've ever got to being in that camp is I did buy an iPhone at one point, but within, I'd say, the first year, I decided to go out and get a Android phone, and I haven't been more happy with that. I had some issues with I had some issues with that iPhone, and I hated it. It was cool to have some of the features while they were there, but honestly, I love Android so much better.
Probably shouldn't have done
Jerry, we do have one more quick thing I want to talk about because it's from a friend of mine who's kind of near and dear to me. We have to do our Indiegogo Project of the Week.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do this real quick, guys. The name of the Indiegogo Project of the Week is called Veil. You can go get it at indiegogo.com/veil. They're trying to raise $5,000. I want to play you their pitch video now. It's about 3 minutes and change. I want to play it for you, though, because it's funny. It kind of actually even kind of connects a little bit with what we were talking about earlier with the, for only $1 a day type of deal. Go ahead, watch this. I hope you guys will enjoy it and laugh. It's cool stuff. It supports someone that I actually know and I admire as a filmmaker. So go ahead and check it out. Be right back.
Hello there. Today I'd like to speak with you about an epidemic that affects the entire world. For 7 years now, 10 Sundays production. See, I got a mouthful of shit. For 7 years now, 10 Sundays Productions have strived to bring you the highest quality entertainment. Their films have captured the imagination of dozens of people around the world. But unfortunately, that may be coming to an end. As you may have read in newspapers, times are tough. Ten Sunday's newest project is Veil. It's a feature-length horror film that they believe will be their most ambitious work to date. I've been fortunate enough to work with them and be killed in a number of their films. Veil has been budgeted for $5,000. If they're unable to raise this amount, they may have to sell their Xboxes and guitar amps. They may even be forced to drink rail instead of premium liquor. Statistics show that 98% of starving third world children will never see an independent horror film. With your help, we can change that. For only $5, your name will appear in the special thanks credits of the upcoming feature film, Veil. $20 will get you a special thanks and a DVD autograph by the cast and crew. For $100, you'll receive an associate producer credit. As part of your contribution, You'll also receive a photograph of the filmmaker you're sponsoring. Do it for them. And them.
I love those guys. For those of you who don't know, that's a producer, director, Paul Bassetti, who's in there. He's the one also, he's the director of this, of Veil. He was also the one who had, who was drinking the alcohol there, which I guarantee you, knowing Paul, was real alcohol. And the other guy who was selling the Xbox was Ian Albetsky, who's his actual producing partner in 10 Sundays Productions. Those guys are awesome. I think, if I remember correctly, Ian's out of West Virginia. Paul is actually a native of that area as well, and also he is he's one of the guys I usually go stay with or hang out with when I'm in New York City as well. He's up on kind of like by 125th Street or so. Cool people. They're just, I love those guys so much. Like, they're so wrong but so right. And I've loved like everything that they've done. If you've never seen Cannibal Cheerleader Camp, awesome sauce. He's worked with Francis Abbey on and also guest starred and guest hosted on Things I Didn't Learn in Film School, which is another podcast that FilmSnobbery produces. And by produces, I mean basically syndicates, because I don't really have much to do in terms of the production. I just put it out there. But yeah, that's it. I'm really excited to see how they go. They only need $5,000, and I think they're up to like $600 or something like that. So they're the next one I really want to push. I love those guys so much. They really do deserve it. They make wonderful films, and I'm always happy to see what they're going to do next. Plus, obviously, you can tell by the, what they were showing there in their pitch video. They're not exactly afraid to, do irreverent things. So that brings us to the end of the show. So I want to say thank you to my guest this week, Jerry Cavallaro, the Aquaman of indie film. Jerry,
thank you.
You're welcome, and happy birthday.
The guest wants to say thank you to you.
Oh, thank you.
I also want to say thank you to Real Clever for donating during the show. You're awesome.
Nice.
Yes, and you're going to get an email soon with the link and passwords to our 10 hours of bonus features.
Sweet.
Yep. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone else in the chat room for just being awesome and sticking with the show, even though I was the guest.
Yes. I want to say another quick congratulations to Zach Forsman. If you guys haven't donated to his campaign over at Kickstarter, I know that we're throwing a lot of donates to at this point, but I definitely want to mention that Zach Forsman is a force to be reckoned with. He's already raised well over $30,000. He has met his goal. His next kind of add-on goal is $40,000, and I think that in the next few hours, if we all kind of up our game, I think we can help him achieve that. And again, Zach Forsman, Sabi Pictures, if it's got those two names associated with it, it's fucking quality. So definitely check it out. And once you're done donating it over there, throw whatever you have left, whatever pocket change you have left, throw it over to my good buddy Paul Bassetti over at 10sundays.com or indiegogo.com/Veil, our Indiegogo project of the week. And again, please, if you can't throw them money, completely understandable, but please give him some time. Throw him a tweet. Throw him a Facebook like. Throw him something, some kind of like loving, and let him know that we sent you, because basically I love taking credit for that shit. No, I'm kidding. That we are happy to help, and we want Paul to know that we're behind him 100%. So I'm gonna send him an email after I'm done here, let him know, hey, we featured your shit, motherfucker. I want to say congratulations to Kevin Smith while I'm here, like he ever gives a shit about what we do. But I want to say congratulations to Kevin Smith and Walt Flanagan and Brian Johnson, because it looks like Secret Stash, the pilot for AMC, got picked up. So congrats to them, the guys over at the Secret Stash in Red Bank, New Jersey. They got themselves a TV show. So tell them Steve Dave, Walt fanboy Flanagan, and tell them Steve Dave Johnson. It looks like they got themselves a reality show. So I'm really excited for those guys and Kevin, obviously, because it's his kind of property. But I'm really, really kind of happy that everything, his next phase of his career is doing stuff.
I thought you were actually going to congratulate him because Red State hits video on demand today.
You're right. September 1st, Red State, a video VOD, guys. That's a good point. I gotta grab that. Red State VOD. I am I'm gonna do that tomorrow. That's gonna be my big present, I think, to myself tomorrow. I'm gonna take a day off. I gotta review some movies, but I'm also going to that's a fucking day off. I'm gonna review some movies and I'm gonna watch Red State, and I'll let you guys know what's up because I'm gonna review it too. So I'll see you guys all next Thursday. We've got a great guest for next Thursday, I believe. Fingers crossed. I just gotta wait for the confirmation, but he's already offered. I believe screenwriter, acclaimed screenwriter of movies such as Rounders and Knockaround, guys. Brian Koppelman will be on the show. So if that happens, that's going to be a fantastic show.
Much better than this week.
Much better than this week. So on behalf of everyone here at Film Snobbery, myself, Jerry Cavallaro, I want to say goodnight. Thank you. Take it easy.
Hi, everyone. StuckLikeChuck.com.